As mentioned in my opening statement, our first witness today is the Honorable Karen Mills, who's the Administrator of the Small Business Administration. Ms. Mills has been with the SBA, or been the SBA Administrator since 2009, and is obviously no stranger to this committee. Prior to joining the Small Business Administration, Ms. Mills is an investor in small businesses, so the struggles that businesses have in obtaining capital are obviously very familiar to you. Thank you very much for being here, and we appreciate you coming in.
Well, thank you very much, Chairman Graves and Ranking Member Velasquez, and members of the committee. Thank you for asking me to testify on access to capital for small business. For the fiscal year that just closed, the SBA hit an all-time record in its 60-year history. We supported over $30 billion in lending to 60,000 small businesses, and we brought back 1,200 lenders, mostly community banks and credit unions, who had not made an SBA loan since 2007. We also had a record year in our Small Business Investment Company program with nearly $2.6 billion in overall financings. This is a zero-subsidy program that targets high-growth small businesses, the main driver of net new jobs. Today, SBA's lending volume is back at pre-recession levels. However, it is our agency's continued obligation to identify and fill gaps where the market is not working. This is particularly true for low-dollar loans and loans to businesses in underserved communities. And as I describe this effort, I want to be sure that the committee understands that all of the SBA's programs and initiatives have been implemented in accordance with our authority as provided by this Congress. So first, low-dollar loans. Under $150,000 have not come back. We found three root causes. They have a high cost of processing relative to their size, so banks often don't want to make them. To answer that, we streamlined and simplified paperwork on these loans to incentivize lenders to step up. Second, we need more points of access to get small loans to entrepreneurs in underserved markets. That's why we developed Community Advantage, to let community-based lenders with proven track records and historically low default rates to make 7A loans for the first time. Third, when many of the large banks withdrew from lending during the recession and the credit crunch in October 2008, small loans to small businesses were very hard hit. That's why we have secured $20 billion in additional commitments over the next 3 years from 13 of our largest banks. Many of them will focus on underserved markets. I also want to be sure the committee fully understands the facts about loan performance and our subsidy costs. Loan default rates now have begun to fall. They are not rising. And loans made in the past 3 years are actually performing significantly better than in the cohorts of 2005, 2006, 2007. As I've testified before, we are also focused on lender oversight and the elimination of fraud, waste, and abuse through a three-pronged approach. We look at upfront eligibility to make sure the loans are flowing to the intended recipients, and continued monitoring and oversight of our lending partners. And finally, we focus on enforcement efforts to pursue fraud and bad actors. My commitment is that we will continue to expand access to capital while protecting taxpayers' dollars as we embark on another critical year in SBA lending. Thank you very much.